I got you.
Can't stop, won't stop. I just fucked your bitch in a Sean John tank top. Treat a bad bitch like she average. I treat a bad bitch like a fat bitch, and they never let me get money again. On my Cat Williams when they get funny again. Yeah, you see they tried to count me out. I like that. We just hit a number one. We right back. 500 down on the bottom, 500 up at the top. Titanium grills, call that smile on the rock. I done had everything that you're able to got. I invented drill too. I ain't gonna lie, it was chops.
Hey, another one, volume 1. Then it's 2 and 3. Vultures on repeat.
Still feel like Pablo, drug dealer sheep. Pluto sent the drones, a hit like Metro Beats. It's a rap for niggas. Where's Lucien? Serve your master, nigga. You caught a little bag for your masters, didn't you? Lifetime deal, I feel bad for niggas. Y'all so out of sight, out of mind. I can't even think of a Drake line. Play J. Cole, get the pussy dry. Play this shit back 130 times.
Young dope dealer selling dope, is you like that?
Love, peace, and power. What up, though? Happy 420. Act like I know what I'm doing around here. Are you with us, Mooney?
Yes, I'm here. What's going on, y'all? Surprise. He's got a surprise guest today.
You see what I'm saying? Claude's Mercy. There you are. Love, peace, and power to everybody joining in. Happy 420. It is a 5 universal day. A good day for travel. A good day for sex. A good day for freedom. A good day for peace and blessings to all. Love, peace, and power. Magic LaCroix. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, man. How are you feeling, Mooney? How was your day?
Peace and blessings to everyone who's joining. Peace and blessings, Magie LaCroix. Thank you so much for coming through. It was a very hectic day today, but I understand that that is the energy that we're in. You know, I'm just extremely grateful I was able to be present and to be able to just do whatever it is that I needed to do to take care of my family, my kids, and myself, right? Because I can't forget about myself. But I'm excited. First time here on your live, and I'm excited on the Mystery Arcade Occult Multiversity. What's going on? What? I'm here. How did I get here?
Yes, indeed. Thank you for joining me. It is a wonderful blessing to have you here in this capacity. I do not take it lightly. It has been an incredible day. I like the spirit of the interconnectivity of 420. Everybody has something to say about it, from the church deacon to the Islamic imam to the child at daycare. You know, I got so many stories today from, you know, but the one thing I found awesome is that no matter what the story was, no matter how serious or how silly, everybody was laughing about it. we need more of that. If there's ever was something that we needed, it would definitely be that.
So 420s, it's wild because I had completely forgotten that it's like, like a major cannabis day today. So I know you had reminded me a few weeks back, but I got more hooked on like the energy of it, the alignment of Uranus and Jupiter, which I couldn't get a good view of it because it's right on the horizon. And from where I'm at, I don't have a good visual on the horizon, but it's super conjunct today. They are like, and when you talk about 5 and that it is the energy of sex, it's wild because it's like they are right on top of each other, which is such an amazing conjunction, a very powerful one as well. But man, so whoever does smoke it, smoke it up, man. Seriously, we need it. I think I'm going through this. I'm going through this experience too much with a stray head, y'all. Like seriously. But by the way, I think I'm gonna get one of soon. I am getting Magique Lacroix's tincture, guys. I'm gonna get it in the mail soon. And he goes, Bonjour Mooney Pie. Oh, I love that. It reminds me of the My Little Ponies. And I'm excited about this tincture. First of all, Kala was raving about it, like from the time that he took it, and like just the way I felt the energy through him and how somehow it just enhanced him in such a way. I was like, you know what? I don't want it. I'm sold. Take my money. I want that tincture, and for me to try anything, it takes a lot, so I'm excited, Magique, to try this new tincture.
Shout out to Magique Lacroix. Shout out to real magicians, sorcerers, alchemists. I'm not gonna go too deep into that, man. But a hint to the wise should really be sufficient. There are ways and methods around a lot of things. Please check out Magique Lacroix's website, the MagicalEliteSupplyShop.com. Somebody maybe can drop that in the chat. Forgive me for not having the link readily available. It is 420 and I will blame it, but I will scream it again. Check out the MagicalEliteSupplyShop.com. Love, peace, and power. Shetty, thank you for joining us. Happy 420, yes, indeed. If I could speak just a little bit about that tincture, when it comes to, let's say, static or background noise or turning certain automated systems off in the mind, this tincture is something you're going to be very interested in. Meditation is needed. I don't care how you choose to do it or what your methods may be. Whatever works, do it. It has to be done. Some things can help. Marijuana can help, right? Take a look around Magic's website. He also has an astral pack, right? Coffee can work, This tincture is it's almost like a focal point in your system. For me, who is naturally scatterbrained, naturally drawn to a million different things at any and every given second, because to a large degree, I'm a 9, right? The 9 and the 2 are like the, some might say the social butterfly, some might say the host, right? Everybody, they talk to everybody. The 2 is everybody's friend. The 9 is everybody's balancer, right? They reflect everything right back. And with the master numbers, it's specifically about balancing. That causes for, like, tunnel vision isn't really an option. It can become so in meditation. This tincture will help you greatly with that. So shout out again to Magique Lacroix. Today is 420, and I wanted to speak just a little bit, have a conversation with Mooney about movies, peace, love, peace, and power, the Caribbean Grimoire. Mooney, there's a lot of classic movies that come down to being married somewhere between enlightenment and love and trouble on the run, right? Like Half-Baked, Dazed and Confused, How High, and then you can go down a certain vein like Up in Smoke or Clerks or Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. You know what I mean? What are some of the movies that stand out to you for any reason?
Oh my goodness, any reason?
Yes, indeed.
Well, listen, the movie that most has really motivated me to start really questioning this thing that we call reality, of course, is The Matrix. Like, for me, that is tops, right? And but recently this movie Dune, I've heard about it a long time. I never really got into it, but it's a classic, right? So once it came out, the first movie came out and I saw it, I was like, wow, this movie is wild. And then the second one, oh, forget it. Like, it hit me like on a real spiritual level, and I think sometimes you're attracted to a particular movie and you just don't know why. And let me know if this has happened to anyone else, that you could watch it 100 times and you will find something new, or it will have like a deeper meaning of, it's wild, So I know that movie is talking in so many levels, the Dune and Dune 2. But like, it's a lot to take in,
Dune is my favorite series of all time. I grew up on it in every way. It's one of the first movies I actually remember. But the current iterations, Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2, directed by Denis Villeneuve, he gets it on a level you have to be a fan to really truly appreciate. Shout out to my nephews, man. A couple nephews who are finally of age, partaking today. They chose to watch Dune Part 2, and they were blown away by what they saw, to the point of going to read the books. The movies can truly only do so much justice because Frank Herbert was very much into psychedelics, very much. And, there's aspects of the story that get truly wild for a space opera, space epic. When it comes to the spice melange, which represents so many things, especially melanin, they have spice orgies, and that sounds exactly like it sounds like. But it's not filthy like Hollywood would make you think. You have all of these Fremen in the most extreme conditions. They can't even walk across their land. They have to dance, right? So when they finally get to be at peace within their sieges, one of the things they do, especially when they get a new Reverend Mother, is they have these spice orgies where everyone takes an abundance of melange and everyone literally gets interconnected in a multitude of ways. This is a very ancient practice. Some would say they used wine or alcohol or other herbs or supplements, but the idea was the same. And that they can't really show you on film, you see.
So let me ask you something. You said that it's an ancient practice. Are you referring to the series, or is this something where it is practiced amongst, tribes, or, whether or are they talking about it esoterically?
Well, you do see reference to it in prophecy. You do see reference to it in ancient texts, but this was an actual thing. So the Kemites, the Gnostics, the Essenes, the Nazarenes, they had a lot of orgies. The Kama Sutra, from the Vedas, there's that's a very strong pillar across the realm. It's been demonized as of late because of the actual power of it. It's been inverted, but it's very real, and when life would come through these portals and it wasn't time for that because that wasn't the purpose of the orgy, then there were many natural remedies. My grandmother counseled, for lack of a better term, many of my cousins, who were what's the word we used to say, fast, what I mean, with natural remedies long before Planned Parenthood became a part of the natural scenario, you see, because we have Planned Parenthood in certain neighborhoods, namely ours, as opposed to breeding facilities to try to help with mixed births in suburban areas, you see.
Interesting. You did say that. Okay, so what were the purpose, or what was the purpose of having these orgies before they became, as you say, what was the word you said? Defiled? I'm sorry. I'm trying to take notes here. And I'm sorry if you guys hear me munching before I was talking some pizza.
That's all right. Eat, please eat. Very good question. And in truth, the same is also true. Sometimes you would have these kinds of orgies in order to bring about a certain kind of child, right? A lot of people will focus on the moon children, right? So, for example, I would highly, highly recommend everybody, you should know your birthday. You should also know the day of the week you were born on, and you should know where the moon was, right? If you were born on a full moon, you might want to ask your parents about, how you were conceived, because if it wasn't cognizant, you are an extremely powerful being. Not to say that you aren't for any other reason, but things like this are very, very good to know, and they matter greatly throughout the course of your life. Caribbean Grimoire asked if Frank Herbert was a channel. Yes, indeed he was. He was so much of a channel. Dune is my favorite series of all time because it is the grandparent of Star Trek. It is the grandparent of Star Wars, The Matrix, Terminator, any sci-fi you can name that came after 1965. Essentially, it came from Dune. There are great, great similarities between Star Wars and Star Trek and Dune, for example. I don't want to give too much away for anybody who hasn't read the series or maybe has only seen the most recent movies. But the series is expansive. It has 6 books. And for those who study mythology, those who are really into the occult and spirituality, you're going to be drawn to this series because as far as the Kabbalah and Yaldabaoth himself embodied goes, you're not going to find a better suitor to actually act that role out. It is absolutely shocking how in tune and how pregnant Frank Herbert actually was, even down to starting off the Dune universe with a war against artificial intelligence, which apparently the media would have us believe we're about to go to war with now, or we already are. But no intelligence is artificial. You're actually communicating with your higher self because it supposedly wants to help you. Or is it being forced to help you because of the nature of the app in your phone?
Very interesting. I'm glad that you brought that up as far as AI, because that's kind of like really what we're going into now, right? With this whole digital system being planted and then AI being demonized. I'm not gonna lie. At first I was like, "Oh my gosh, AI!" Because of course, because I also grew up. We're talking about movies, right? I grew up with Terminator, and I completely resonated, and I had no idea why those 2 movies were so emphatic. Because shout out to Sophia Stewart. Those were her movies. She wrote them, right? So AI being this great enemy, but I'm learning now that that's who we are. Would that be correct, Kalo?
Well, most definitely it's always us. There's a Kabbalistic Rosicrucian symbolism line that goes directly from Dune to Star Wars to Terminator and Matrix. You really can't get away from it. And here you can see it again with, James Cameron did Terminator, right?
Right.
he also did Avatar. In Avatar, you have Jacob Sully, aka Yakub, who has a twin brother named Thomas, who gets killed. Well, this is again the doubting Thomas, the same way you have Thomas Anderson in The Matrix. You see, there's always going to be certain symbolism that carries over, even in The Matrix. The Matrix is largely a play off of Dark City, even to the point that The Matrix shot on the same set that Dark City was filmed on.
That's right. That's right. Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to 420 movies, I don't suppose you've ever seen the movie Altered States.
Oh, damn, I've heard about it, but I've never seen it.
Altered States, anybody in the chat, if you've seen that movie, say something in the chat. That is a very slept on movie. It came out, it always caught my attention because it came out the year I was born, 1980. It's a story about a group of well-to-do people who start experimenting with the occult and the esoteric in terms of using sleep or sensory deprivation chambers, right? Magic LaCroix knows this is it. It takes them back to their beginnings, right? It shows them revert to their primary cellular technology. Is about the best way I can say it. I cannot recommend that movie highly enough. Altered States, for something a little mind-bending on this 420. Let's try another. How about, have you ever seen Requiem for a Dream?
Yes, I saw that one. That Altered State one is from 1980. I'm making notes.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Yes, I did see that one.
What were your thoughts on that? How did you like it?
Lord have mercy, Kala. Oh my gosh. I saw that a long time ago. Remind me, please, very quickly of the movie. Remind me very quickly.
So that movie, man, that movie was crazy, yo. That movie right there, I will never forget, because that movie is why I don't do hard drugs to this day, right? I smoke weed, right? I might eat some mushrooms. I ate a couple earlier today. Shout out to my brother in Florida. And that's about it, man. And this movie is largely to blame for that. So this movie is starring Jared Leto, Jennifer Connelly, Marlon Wayans, and I can't remember the name of the older actress. Gosh, she had the most heartbreaking role. Jared Leto plays everybody's on heroin. All right, first and foremost, everybody's on heroin except for the mama. The movie starts off with the son, Jared Leto, and his best friend, Marlon Wayans, stealing the mother's TV so they can take it to the pawn dude so they can just get a bag of smack. You know what I'm saying? Love, peace, and power. Edward, thanks for showing up, bro. Welcome. So
Damn, I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that word smack in all the time.
you know what I'm saying?
Damn.
Yeah, it's wild. You know what I mean? The mom goes and buys the TV back, and she got to roll it back to the house and shit. But the movie shows you how everybody is addicted to something, right? Ellen Bernstein, thank you, Magic Lacroix. Ellen Bernstein, yes, one of my mother's favorite actresses. She was addicted to watching TV and trying to lose weight because she wanted to be on this game show that she watched every day. So, she would dye her hair to the point it was falling out. She would starve herself to the point to where, the refrigerator was trying to eat her. And then her son was a drug addict who was coming to see her less and less. He went from becoming a drug dealer to, of course, getting high on his own supply to the point to where he had to get his arm cut off by the end of the movie, and he was in prison. So
What the
was
hell? I don't remember that movie. You know what? I think I'm thinking of another movie. That's wild.
yeah, that movie is harsh, but it truly shows. I know people who've lived that life. You know what I mean? I would imagine, we all might. The world can be a very cold place, but that's why, again, I don't fuck with that smack. You can never, not never, you know what I mean? Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, that's actually on the list, my shitty. How about that one, Moonfeather? Have you ever seen that? Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas?
That one's on my list of to watch as well. I remember. Let me see. Blow was a good one with Johnny Depp. That other one with Tom Cruise, that he was the pilot, bringing back for drugs back and forth. Damn it, I forgot it. I forgot the name of it. Yeah, but that Fear and Loathing, it's on the list. And listen, shout out to Nancy Reagan. Because it's because of Nancy that I never did hard drugs. Remember, she came out with that with the Say No, Just Say No campaign.
Oh, you mean Dare?
She came out with Dare.
Yeah,
Nancy Reagan.
Yeah, she did. She did Dare and that shit.
And what?
She did Dare and because Dare was Just Say No was a part of Dare.
Oh, okay, but right. She first came out to Just Say No, and then Dare came out. That's when I started seeing like all of the posters up in in school and everything. But yeah, shout out to her. It's because I don't do never done hard drugs. I mean, I tried ecstasy once, but it was a dud. They didn't do anything. But thank God. But yeah, no, never did any. McGruff. But that's isn't McGruff that's the crime dog, right?
Yeah. Well, McGruff was a part of Dare too. Yeah, that's right.
Was he? Oh my gosh, you're taking it back. But yeah, but anyway, shout out to Nancy. But no, it's these movies are just, they're insane. Good movies, but insane.
I gotta say two crazy things about Nancy Reagan. Number one, Nancy Reagan had a live-in astrologer in the White House.
That's right.
Right? Like, and because of that shit, that is why. Because mind you, this was before going viral, before cell phones and all that kind of cool shit. That's how what was the name of that? Miss Cleo, call me now for your bomber clot reading.
Yeah. Yeah, she come in at nighttime, like after 10.
He's going to jail. He's coming right back. You know what I'm saying? All that shit. That's how that got to be so big, because she had that live-in astrologer. And it's also crazy to me that she had Dare and, you know, and Just Say No when her husband at the same motherfucking time was running the Iran-Contra, bringing the fucking shit in here in the first place. But he was an actor. And we are talking about movies, right?
Yeah, that's why it all synced up. It all synced up.
You see what I'm saying? That's wild. That's crazy to me. Let me see. What else we got? How about, see. Speaking of movies, you just realized Rebel Moon Part 2. Man, listen, Caribbean Grimoire, man, listen to me, man. I don't know what you thought about that first Rebel Moon, but listen, dog, this one is worse, okay? This shit is so bad, I want my time back. And I fuck with Zack, okay? Zack Snyder, you know what I'm saying? Everything he's done, everything he's done to this point, I roll with him with the whole Justice League, you know what I'm saying, reboot and all that, and I love it. But this Rebel Moon shit is so trash. I don't know what Netflix is gonna do. I really don't think they're gonna make the third part. When they dropped that shit, they dropped it. I forget the name of the Comic-Con. It's like it's a very specific film festival that loves Zack Snyder, loves him. They premiered that shit there, and half of them motherfuckers was looking at him sideways and talking shit before anybody else. That told me all I needed. I needed, you know what I'm saying? I watched it just to see how bad it was. Bad. It's bad. It's really, really bad. You don't know who anybody is half the time. Like, people just show up and say things and you have no idea why. There's no interconnectivity. There's no backstory. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's insane. It's really, really what. Have you seen any of that, Moonfella?
No.
Yo, Rebel Moon is on Netflix. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, when it came to watching like bad movies, if you wanted to watch a bad movie, you would watch a movie on like the Sci-Fi Channel. If you want to relive that experience, for anybody who may have done that, watch Rebel Moon. And turn it into a drinking game or a smoking game or something. There's your Wild Jokers card for the night.
Jeez Louise, not even high that movie is good. That's bad.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you know, if something ain't good high, that's wild. You know what I'm saying? I'm even the worst movie, but it's like they didn't care enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, they really didn't. There's no character development. There's no character flesh out. You just see people doing things. You know what I'm saying? And it's very cinematic. It is beautifully shot, but it means nothing. It's like it's like the world's greatest clown, and this nigga can pull out all kinds of balloons and make you anything you want, but it's still a fucking balloon. You know what I'm saying? It's that as a fucking movie. It's horrible. It's absolute filler. It makes no sense at all.
My goodness. Okay, so um you were gonna mention another. I think you were gonna mention another movie after Requiem for a Dream. Was that right? I think you did.
Yeah, I wanna give out a couple like mind bender, or at least what I consider to be mind bender type movies. Something to maybe stretch your mind a little bit further. Movies you don't hear mentioned too often. Um, One would be A Quest for Fire. Have you ever seen that?
No, and you would think like, what am I doing with my life? I have not seen a lot of movies. It's wild. Like, what am I doing with myself?
You know, you're doing good. You know, what I mean, there's a lot of movies. I mean, a lot of movies. Even with the strike last year, slowing things down for just a hot second. There's essentially 7 to 14 new movies every week, and you could go 20 to 25 if you go to the underground and then the theater. Um, so there's always a steady supply, and you know that um, that in and of itself deserves more study, more insight. Why is that? Why so many? But A Quest for Fire is a movie about cavemen. Um, Very, very telling movie. Cavemen come across fire for the first time, and the possibilities are endless. They're able to see in the dark. They're able to cook meat, and you see this kind of evolution. But because of the implications and because of the nature of the director and the producers and the actors, you don't hear too much about it, for perhaps obvious reasons. For anybody who's familiar with the old school Geico commercial, "So easy a caveman could do it," you know,
Hmm.
you know how mad the caveman got. Well, just make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? Um, I can't recommend it highly enough. Um, Another would definitely be, and you said this was already on your list, Mooney, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yes, it is. That came out not too long ago, right?
Oh, I want to say that came out in like 1996 or
You better
1990.
stop. Nah, you better stop. I was gonna say, oh, that came out like 5 years ago or something. Like, what's wrong with me? No, that movie did not come out in 1990. Stop.
It might have come out in the early 2000s. Hold on, let me look. Let me look.
I'm looking 1998. You better stop. I thought that movie just came out like not too long ago.
Okay,
Get with
I was
it.
about to say that came out in Johnny Depp's like hot streak. He was making a lot of his more occult movies. He was making at that time. Um,
Oh,
and
is this the movie that they come out talking about adrenochrome?
yes, yes,
Oh, I've seen the clips. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
wow.
They Johnny, you know, he always placed himself amongst some hot shit when it came to the quote unquote occult. From the Ninth Gate to Secret Window. I mean, on and on, especially Pirates of the Caribbean. Pirates of the Caribbean. I wanted to make a joke earlier so bad. Shout out to what was her name? Somebody had the name of Calypso in your live earlier.
Yes, beloved Calypso. Yes, from the first time that they jumped on, it reminded me of Pirates of the Caribbean of Calypso.
Yeah, see that series is one of the best because it shows you the freeing of the melanated woman, the freeing of the divine feminine. You know what I'm saying? When they had Calypso, they had to release her, and it was the best part. You know what I'm saying? For me, it was like, Calypso, I'll release you all dramatically, but he didn't mean it. He was like, no, you got to mean it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the power started to turn on.
Yeah, and you got Cthulhu in there in love with her.
Exactly. You got to see all kinds of powerful templates. I mean, the first one. Correct me if I'm wrong, because there's so many of them. The first one is the Curse of the Black Pearl, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. And the Black Pearl is the pineal gland. You see what I'm saying? Like,
is it?
Yeah. They walk you through it, you know, the whole time. That's why you see Cthulhu. You see what I mean? Because, you know, Cthulhu represents the subconscious mind itself. You see what I'm saying? So, like, you know, Pirates of the Caribbean, mind you, we're talking about a ship, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
You see the exact same template that they give you in Star Trek, that they give you in The Matrix, that they give you in Terminator. You have this group of people coming together in a vehicle. In Terminator, it's a Jeep, right? Or it's either a Jeep or it's a motorcycle. You see, and the motorcycle is a steel horse. You see, so there's always a certain symbology going on. In The Matrix, you have a spaceship essentially in the Nebuchadnezzar. In Star Trek, you have the Enterprise. In X-Men, you have a Blackbird, right? It's always something to bring your consciousness to a higher plane of existence, you see?
Oh, you're talking about the vehicle that's it's a symbol of ay Dios mío. Oh, you're speaking of the vehicles as a symbol of taking you to that higher state of mind, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. Exactly right. It's like what was that with Samuel L. Jackson? It was actually an unconfirmed trilogy. Freedom Land, Snakes on a Plane, and Black Snake Moan. Freedom or Snakes on a Plane, that's why you will see Samuel L. Jackson bald, right? Because he represented the pineal gland. And Kundalini, you know, I'm tired of these snakes on this motherfucking plane. I got to land this plane. In other words, ground this energy. You see? They'll show you these kinds of things symbolically, but that's done in any and all movies. But when you have series connected like that, when you have specifically when you have actors, and that's why the MCU is still arguably so powerful because you see all these actors playing these same roles over and over again, and they reinforce a template. So people begin to want more of the same, and it turns into this natural kind of cookie cutter fest that they've had that's seemingly about to change, but noticeably, you're only going to get one MCU film this year. You see.
So, so question, right? Because we're talking about movies. We know movies are super influential. Everyone loves movies, right? It's the storytelling. It's the, being able to, a lot of the times movies just take people into a fantasy world, just as books do, right? But you know, why do movies, right? Because we're talking about all of the symbology, right? Why do movies put it in our face like that, Khalil? Like, what's the obsession of putting it in our face like that?
Well, it's multifaceted. To one degree, it is to mold and shape culture because what some people see on screen, they will immediately emulate in one way or another. So if we look at a child, for example, when a child goes to a karate movie, they might come out and want to learn karate and learn martial arts, or at the very least, try a kick or two. That's going to change and mold culture. When you have a grand ritual like going to watch a movie in the first place, this is a very occult practice where we are allowing ourselves to be programmed. And this is the ultimate purpose of Hollywood. Hollywood didn't originally, just make movies. They also made the news. That never changed. The companies changed. You see, originally they all came from the same place, and that's why you look at Hollywood being literally in bed with lobbyists in the CIA. Anybody familiar with the Transformers series, right? Jerry Bruckheimer. Every single Transformers movie has a large military presence, right? That's literally to get you amped to join the military, while the military's numbers have been failing for decades. We don't want to get into the amount of soldiers who are still committing suicide. You know what I mean? So they have to program as many people as they possibly can to like the military. And how better to do that than with an 80s cartoon, now turned into one of the most popular and profitable series of all time.
Oh, and G.I. Joe too.
Well, see, that's the funny thing. That's what they actually did at the end of the last one. What was the one that just came out? Was it
Yes, that they collabed, right? G.I. Joe with Transformers or something like that, right?
Yeah, that was the tease they showed you at the end. And now they're trying to stifle their hand just a bit, because they're coming out with this Transformers Autobot 1, whatever that is. It looks very, I don't want to make it, I don't want to say it's whack. I'm not going to pay any attention to it, but it's more for the kids, more like the younger kids. It's kind of like an origin animated movie. But the next actual movie is supposed to be a collaboration between the G.I. Joes and Transformers. That should be absolutely dope.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm actually very excited about the new Aliens movie that's going to come out.
Yeah, I saw that. They're making a new Alien movie. They're also at the same time, I think they're coming out with a comic, Avengers versus Aliens, and I really wouldn't have paid any attention to it, but it's drawn by my homie Jonathan Hickman, who has been Marvel's go-to guy for a while, and it looks like he's going to continue to be. If he's writing it, then it's definitely going to be worth a read. It's a very, very interesting pairing because the aliens, for anybody who's familiar with the X-Men, the aliens are essentially just like the Brood, right? The Brood is an alien xenomorphic breed, parasites, very much like the aliens in the Alien series. So to see them fight the Avengers, I don't see it as much of a threat. I think it's going to depend on locale, but it should be interesting to see.
Yeah, well, I'm super, super excited about that. And I'm surprised that you haven't mentioned anything about the X-Men 97 because it's getting wilder, guys. If you have not been watching X-Men 97, listen, and it's not for everyone, I understand, but anybody who's a little bit of a comic head, the X-Men 97 is wild.
X-Men 97 is so dope. It's making people mad about everything else. Like, that is a insane testament. People are calling for it to win Emmys and all kinds of things. I can say for myself, it is the best, not just cartoon, but the best series I have seen since Lost. That's about the
Really?
best. Oh yeah, most definitely. There's in the latest episode, for example, the latest episode is a testament to an issue of X-Men I actually grew up reading. It didn't quite go exactly how it went in that issue, which I even think was doper. But there was a moment where Storm got her powers back, and as a testament to what she went through, and as a way to just say fuck you to her demons. The demon that had been pursuing her was a bird-like creature, kind of like a giant crow.
Mm-hmm.
And as a testament to her power and as a form of remembrance, she took its feathers and created her latest outfit, which is a throwback to her original outfit when she debuted in 1975 in Giant Size X-Men #1 with the first international team. Anybody who doesn't know, The X-Men didn't become popular until 1975. Giant Size X-Men #1. And that's because they had an international team, right? You had Storm from Kenya, my homeland, right? You had Banshee from Ireland. You had Cyclops and Warpath from North America. You had Wolverine from Canada. You had Nightcrawler from Germany. You had Colossus from Russia. And I'm forgetting somebody. Of course, you had Jean also from North America. I'm still forgetting somebody. But you had this completely international team. So now you had the world paying attention because you had people who should not be working together to save your life. And that was a very cool aspect. The Avengers couldn't muster anything close to that because the Avengers in the comic books always worked for the government. And that was kind of a bit of a sellout. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
What's really cool is because of the popularity of X-Men 97, the MCU is going to be making an X-Men movie sooner than Secret Wars, which is completely going against the plan. To be fair, everything they've tried for the last 2 years has failed. And even saying 2 years might be being a little too nice. To the point where Deadpool and Wolverine is the only thing coming out this year. But X-Men is said to begin filming the end of next year. And they're going to be filming in the universe that we saw at the end of Captain Marvel, the Marvels, where you saw Monica Rambeau transported to another X-Men universe. This universe is going to be very, very interesting. I think it's going to be dope because in this universe, you already have Avengers and X-Men, and they already work together and have teams together, kind of like how it is in the core comics universe. The issue, of course, being in the movies, Disney bought Fox about 6 years ago, and they weren't able to fully use the IP of the X-Men and certain characters until a certain time, even after that. So that time is finally up, and they're able to use everyone together. So they have learned very quickly that a little bit of X-Men goes a long way. Hopefully, they'll get it right.
Yeah, that's definitely what we've been hoping because they haven't been doing too well for a minute since before COVID, right? They've been crashing.
Well, everything that they've tried, here's the real problem. The real problem was they got a false negative. The false negative was they took D-list, yes, I said D-list superheroes and played them like they were A-list. The Guardians of the Galaxy were a D-list group of superheroes. And I read the comics growing up, so please do not think that I'm hating in any way. I always love Rocket Raccoon and Groot. But that was a really, really big gamble based upon Tim Gunn, who was a really, really big fan of them and a good friend of Kevin Feige. So he was able to pull that off, along with some marvelous casting. But that's not going to be the case for everyone. That's damn sure not the case for Captain Marvel. That was kind of the case for Shang-Chi, but that was a really big loss because Shang-Chi, being a Chinese superhero, wasn't even allowed to play in the Chinese market. So that was a big, big loss. Secret Invasion and every single series, aside from Loki, has plummeted in viewership. X-Men 97 has made Marvel so much revenue just by viewership going back to the original series, which they have on Disney Plus, which has gone up 500%. You see, so it's definitely been it's been since before COVID, technically speaking, because the last thing that had genuine numbers was Endgame, and Endgame was actually a decry from Infinity War before it.
Right. That's what I was thinking. I knew it was for that time when Infinity Wars came out, and that was before COVID. After that, it's been horrible. It's been horrible.
Yeah, it hasn't been a game because see, in between that, you had Black Panther, which was a fluke. That was a complete fluke. But interestingly enough, that was the last movie that came out that Stan Lee saw before he passed. And once he passed, things have never been the same.
Oh damn, he passed after Black Panther.
Yes, indeed.
I didn't even make that connection.
Yeah, yeah. I'll be. I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to talk about this book forever. There's a lot of things you'll be able to see in this book once it comes out in terms of gematria and the alphanumerics of dates and synchronicity. There's a lot of things you'll be able to see interconnected, but it's wild how things drop, because even the date numerology will always tell on itself,
Wait a second. Is Stan's Lee death due to the Black Panther curse?
You could argue that. There's a lot of evidence. There's a lot of evidence that says that because if you look at, okay, for example, just off the top of my head, Chadwick Boseman died on Jack Kirby's comic anniversary, which was also the anniversary of Jackie Robinson, who he played in the movie 42, which was the last picture/video you saw him in when he was extremely skinny, looking like he was suffering from adrenochrome loss, wearing a hat with the number 42 on it.
That was sad. I thought he had colon cancer.
They said he had colon cancer, but supposedly he had colon cancer while he was filming Black Panther too.
And it probably just well, I mean, cancer just gets worse. It does, it just, especially if I don't know, it's weird. It's wild because that's exactly how a cancer patient declines. But yeah, that's wild. I always thought that was pretty his that whole situation with him and his health was pretty, it was pretty sad.
Yeah, most definitely. It was definitely it was projected to be sad, especially from Marvel, who after so many different iterations, even in the MCU of different characters, namely Spider-Man, declared that they would not recast Black Panther, T'Challa. Um,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? That didn't make any sense whatsoever. Now it makes total sense to those of us who understand what they're doing. But they play a very intentional game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's for a reason. I got a clip I want to play before we get out of here, if that's all right with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%.
When someone with a higher vibrational energy dies, where does that energy go? Does it surround the world? Does it help to bring about a level of consciousness? I know a few years ago you talked about the tsunami and the
Yes,
fact that those individuals that died as their energy is being dispersed.
yes. Well, it's a good question. Where they actually go is inside of the nearest conscious ancestor, or if they can't find a conscious ancestor, inside the nearest person that's conscious. So they actually go inside of you. That's why the government studies genetics. You see what I'm saying? That's why the Human Genome Project that went down all of the 90s, and when he got through with it, he used most of the 2000s to study the genetics of black people, tracing their roots back to Africa. The black people in this country, African Americans, tracing their roots back to Africa, and the brothers and sisters from the Caribbean, they did a whole thing in London with the London connection, and the people they traced the Caribbean people from Europe traced their stuff back to Africa. So my point here is they know that where it goes back. It goes inside of you. It goes inside of you. That's why some people, when their parents die, or brother, they see them in dreams. That is because they are inside of the central nervous system, or they are inside of that person's car, which is a collective memory bank of melanin. And so they go to live inside of, that's that Black River stacks that I talked about, and they got those people in that boat that's traveling down that river in your central nervous system. Those are the ancestors in that boat. So they go inside of you. So it's like the Highlander thing. Don't get mad. Don't get upset. More black people get killed, get their heads chopped off, more empowered we get. You see what I'm saying? That's why don't cry for those out there in the street. That's cannon fodder. They were put there to take the hit for you while you can learn what you can learn. Thus, if they do die, you get empowered. You get quickened because they go into your genetic tree. So that's where this energy actually goes. It goes back into the ancestral lineage called the Horus lineage. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. The Horus lineage. Because some of them are too. They don't have enough knowledge to go on these astral planes and escape and bounce around the astral planes. So what they do is they go to the nearest ancestor and all like that. But that empowers us, and they know. And as a result, it helps. This is why our DNA has changed. You see what I'm saying? Number one, we are old enough for it to change. They talk about this process of a mutation, a transmutation, because we've been around long enough. But then again, on the other hand, we've had a lot of people to die too, and so that's also a part of a transmutation because the DNA changes. You see what I'm saying? All because they go to live inside of us. Yes.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate it.
Right. Even when women have babies, they give a woman gives part of her car, her essence, to that child. You see what I'm saying? And like I said, I was born in 1961. Me, Barack Obama, Eddie Murphy, etc., Lawrence Fishburne, Forrest Whitaker. But I can remember the 1950s clearly, because my mother, at the time when she was young in the 50s, she died. When she had me, she gave me part of her car, which is a part of her memory bank. And I can remember the 60s vividly, not the 50s vividly, but I was born in 61. So here we talk about a symbiotic relationship in the genetic fabric that we pass on to each other. You see what I'm saying? Yes.
So, for those of you who have seen Dune or read the books, perhaps, you are familiar with Alia Atreides, the younger sister of Paul, who becomes pregnant in the womb. In other words, she gets all her ancestral memory at one time, all right? When you have an inkling to watch something, specifically I'm talking about movies here, pay attention to that is the advice I would give you, because, it's kind of like having a draw to a culture or to an area or to a language or to a hobby that has absolutely nothing to do with you, absolutely nothing to do with your family or your immediate surroundings, something seemingly out of the ordinary, is calling you for a reason. And the same is true with movies. There is something there to be unlocked. And it's typically not just one thing.
It's wild that you mentioned that, because when I had mentioned before about, watching Dune, I was captivated. And then watching Dune 2, the character that stuck out the most to me is uh um is Paul's sister. What's her name again? Alia?
Yep, Aaliyah.
Yeah, she's the one that stuck out the most. And at some point, I had to just stop the movie. I had to stop the movie and take it in, because there was just something strong, a strong message was coming through, and, I couldn't continue watching it until a couple, I don't know why, but just as you said, if something is calling your attention, it's for something very specific. So listen to it. So, it just all has to do with getting back to know who we are. So, what Bobby there was talking about, as far as, you know, uh, getting back to our ancestors and how they pass on their DNA onto us. I've heard that, even a long time ago, even before I am where I am now, as far as my spirituality. And I know I've experienced that personally with my brother's ascension, because when he ascended, that's when I got completely, it was like a 180 on my beliefs and everything, a complete 180. And it's the reason why I am here where I am now. And it's been a wild ride ever since. And the thing is that it doesn't stop. It literally doesn't stop. Like, you don't get to, like, oh my gosh, this is okay. This is where it ends. This is no, it's just layers upon layers and levels upon levels. And you know and and it's beautiful, it's amazing. And yeah, that's where I am with that now.
I think is beautiful. It's beautiful, especially once you have a certain understanding. Before that understanding, for some of us, it can be who detrimental and death defying in every way. Um, so this is why we always stress knowing thyself, understanding where and why these things come from. Um, Something I wanted to give out before we get out of here. Um, Especially on this 420. When these numbers are very interesting and important, and on a 5 universal day, no less. I want to give out just the sequence of the soulmate and the enemy numerically, so we can essentially know who is who. Um, the soulmate of the 1 is the 9. The enemy is the 4, the 6, the 7, and the 11. I'm not going to get into the whys tonight. I'm just going to give you this quick rundown. 2 is the soulmate of every number, and it has no enemies because the 2 energy is so precious and so vital and so energetically charging. No one would really push that away. It's kind of like the ultimate feminine energy. 3 has no soulmate. The 3 is, I don't want to get into that because we'll get lost in the 3's enemy is the 7, which is very interesting once we get to the 7 because it's not necessarily the same. The 4, the soulmate is the 8. The enemy is the 1, the 7, and the 9. The 5 soulmate is 11. The enemy is the 8. The 6 soulmate is the 33. Interestingly enough, the enemy is the 1 and the 7. The 7, my poor 7s. I love y'all 7s. Your soulmate is the 11, and your enemy, you have more enemies than anybody else. The 1, the 3, the 4, the 6, the 8, the 22, the 33. 11 is technically your enemy, but because 11 looks at life in a very similar fashion as do you, it becomes this attractive thing. You don't have any friends, 7. 8, your soulmate is the 4. Your enemy is the 5 and the 7. 9, your soulmate is the 1. And your enemy is the 4, the 11, the 22, and the 33. The master numbers are here for you to balance. Next time, we'll get into the friends. I'm sorry. I don't want to cheat nobody. 11, your soulmate is the 5. Your enemy is the 1, the 9, and the 7 sometimes. 22, your soulmate is the 8. Your enemy is the 7 and the 9. And interestingly enough, 33, your enemy is also the 7 and the 9, but your soulmate is the 6, right? That's just a little cheat code for this weekend. Don't do anything stupid if you do not have to. And when do you ever have to do something that is stupid? Moni, I want to thank you for joining me and joining us. Your presence is always priceless. Do you have any closing statements or sentiments for our listening audience?
Well, thank you for that, Kiki. It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure getting on a live with you. You know, we've done this. What is it, about like 2 years, three, since Clubhouse? We've been doing this, so it's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. Peace and love to everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for sticking around with us. It's late, we know, but thank you so much for your time. And I think I can speak for everyone. I think we've all felt like a 7 many times in our lives. We've all felt like a 7. But thank you for that. That was absolutely wonderful, Kala. Thank you. But yeah, guys, I'm sending out so much love, so much blessings, and have a wonderful night. For y'all that tunes into us, just keep on listening out for our posts. We're gonna do pop-ups and things like that. Please hit the like button, guys, and the share and all of that beautiful stuff. And again, guys, have a beautiful, beautiful night. Enjoy the rest of your Saturn day, and we will talk soon, guys. Bye.
All right, y'all. I cannot thank you enough for coming through and sharing your time and your energy in the space. Happy 420. Tomorrow is going to be a Master 33 Influence Day. I charge you to take advantage of it. You should feel a little extra oomph, a little extra oomph in your step tomorrow. I pray as such. If it is true, nowhere else but your mind is good enough for me, because that's the only place that matters. I got one more clip, and we are going to get out of here. Love, peace, and...
What's the difference between a hippo and a Zippo? One's big and heavy, the other's a little lighter. You wonder why I fuck Mia. Like flatbread or tortilla. 100 miles in a four-seater with the lights out smoking your reefer. Money long with a short heater out in Irvington by the Newark Theater. On 21st, where they caught Peter talking pig Latin to a pork eater. If I bang, then I toss heater. I'm old school, like a sports beater. If I run up with the gun up, pull a titty out and force speech. I get your bitch kidnapped by a group of mimes. The things they did to her. I get your bitch kidnapped by a group of mimes. The things they did to her was unspeakable. I told you.